All right. Likutey Moharan, Teres Samech Beis. We are sort of like we are in Sif Hey. We have explained how the axis of the klipos to the kedusha is from the bechina of achoraim, from the back. We said that kedusha has the panim and it has the back. It has the front and the hind side. The hind side, like a person, has the front side and the hind side. From the front, you can see who it is. You can see how he looks. You can see if he's happy, he's not happy, and so forth and so on. But from behind, it is much more opaque. And the same thing is the kedusha. The kedusha, from the front, you have the light is fully on, and but behind it is more dimmed. This is where the klipot and the tuma have access. It's like lo aleinu when a person, when all his systems are healthy, then he is healthy and his body is healthy, and there are many different kind of systems. There's the heart, there's the adrenaline system, there is the blood, whatever it is. So as long as each one of them is strong and is healthy, so the entire body is healthy and the person is. But the minute that one system is one link in the chain is weak, maybe a person has diabetes, has that. One of the systems, goes wrong. This is where, all kinds of afflictions can latch on to a person. Where the weak link is, this is when they can attack him. We say the same thing is like vermin. Yeah, you have to exterminate them. But as long as food source for rats or whatever it is will be available, they'll keep on coming. You're not going to kill each and every one. And eventually but if you block off access to food, then they just leave. I mean, they won't stay because they need to sustain themselves. So the same thing is with the kalipot. They are latching to the kedusha. The face of the kedusha is too strong. The light is too strong. It burns them up. From behind, then the kedusha is not so glaring, and this is what they latch it. This is the taivas is a taivas achila v'shtia. They and this was it called a three sar paroi, and they stem from para. Para is ha'oref, which means that's the hind side. Para is ha'oref. Ha'oref is the back of the head. That signifies the behind. Now, when when a person fasts, I mean, a person is actually attacking the head of the taivas head on, because the main taivas, the root of all taivas is eating and drinking. And that enables, paroi and the rest of the taivas to latch onto the kedusha. A person only sins on a full stomach. Then he can start cultivating all kinds of vices. But if a person is starving, he has no other taivas. That's the first thing, is eating and drinking. So the way to cover the garbage cans and prevent sustenance to the vermin, so the kelipot, and mimele to drain the kelipot from all life source, and cause all those who follow them, din of a desire, that gets kind of feeling like, wow, there's something to it, and blah blah blah. As long as the kelipot are being fed, as long as they're getting the sustenance, they can give this kind of koyach, that as if it matters, and there's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of meaning to it, and blah blah. But when you block it off, so they become desperate. When the klipot become desperate, then they have to eat. And when a person fasts, so they go and they try to leech on, to suck chayas from the face of the kedusha. Oh, the face of the kedusha. So what happens to them is the same thing that happens to a moth. When the moth gets attracted to a light that is too much. So we said, how come? Why does the fasting closes the achoraim, closes the hind side? It's because fasting is based on the same principle of achoraim, of hindsight. Because any kind of fasting, the value of the fast depends on when did it start. Fasting between meals is not called fasting. When a person doesn't eat, the strong fasts such as Tisha B'Av, Yom Kippur, why are the fasts stronger and more potent than the fasts of Shivasa B'Tammuz or Tzom Gedalia? Why is that? Masar B'Teves, because they don't start the day before; they start the same day. So when does a person gets the most schar for fasting? At the end of the fast. But why does he get it in? Because of when did the fast start? If a person fasts for 2 days, the second day is much more important than the first day. But the only reason why it's more important is because the first day exists. He started fasting the first day. The first day was, in beginning to fast. When a person decides, something, I'm going to accept the need of myself to fast. That's the hard part, to make the decision. And then when you actually have made the decision and you went on, then it becomes easier because you get used to it and so forth and so on. So that's why this inyan of fast and inyan of tshuva is always the most important thing is the beginning. So Rabbeinu explains as follows. And the main koich of the avoid of all the days, shkoich, thank you, of all the days is just the beginning. We have to go back to the first day when a person starts to understand that he really needs to fast, when he starts mehepech lehepech, and every single day is going back to get the koich from the aschala. Now, because these ministers are very close to the dibur, that's the food pipe and the windpipe and the blood vessels leading to the brain. They're close to where the dibur starts. So they are actually taking the dibur down with them to the straight of the throat. It causes a state of hoarseness, nichar groini. A person is hoarse, and he cannot say any kind of dibur. Physical dibur, hoarse means that the dibur cannot come out. Dibur cannot come out. Spiritually, when a person is under the dominion of these three princes of Parai, they're pulling the speech to the straights off the throat. A person becomes spiritually hoarse. What does it mean? It means he cannot speak before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When the dibur is held captive by the taivas, a person can sit back on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but cannot say anything. He's spiritually hoarse. So, in order to remediate that, you have to wet the throat. A person is like hoarse. What does he do? Takes a glass, water, whatever, and he drinks. He's bringing down meimei chasodim, the waters of the chasodim, to moisten the throat. Then he can speak. And this was says ve'yirov ba'aretz. Rav, hunger, alludes to tinus. What happened? Tinus means you're hungry. Shemar v'satzma, you're making yourself hungry. This is when you seal off the hind sides of the kedusha. Now Rabbeinu explains that this state, when a person is fasting, and therefore sealing off the hind side, this has an expression in Kabbalah. We meet this concept many times in Likutey Moharan. When we're talking about Torah Vov, before a person does tshuva, he's, Shem Ek, he is the Kabbalistic expression of a person before he makes tshuva, is Shem Eke B'Achoraim. There's a way to express this concept of Achoraim from the hindsight, where the light is dimmer. So, and Rabbeinu says in Deikus Acharei Kedusha, the eating of fasting, the eating of hungering yourself, as it were, is B'chinas Achoraim. How come? Why is this B'chinas Achoraim? Achoraim is always, you start the first letter, when you spell, let's say, in Torah Vav, it says you spell Shem Eke B'Achoraim. So you go Aleph, it's Aleph K Yud K. That's the Shem, that's the expression of B'chinas Ponim. When you want to express a B'chinas Achoraim, when the light is lesser, this is where the klippas can come, you express it of Aleph, then you go Aleph K. In other words, before you make the K, you go back to the Aleph and start again. And then you start Aleph K Yud, and then you go Aleph K Yud K. So the expression of a person who is in a state of when Pnei Eke, the face of Eke, is hidden from him, Kabbalistically, the formula is Aleph, Aleph K, Aleph K Yud, Aleph K Yud K. If a person is in a state where he's actually doing tshuva, the Kabbalistic expression would be straightforward, Aleph K Yud K. The same thing is over here. Now we are in a state of fasting to do tshuva, to release the dibur from the captivity, from the taivas. So he says, Ki Havaya Elokim, the two names, Shem Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, and Shem Elokim. together, when Kabbalistically, when you express it be'achoraim, in other words, you go back each time to the beginning of the word. Shem Havaya b'achoraim and Shem Elokim b'achoraim together, Kabbalistically, in Gematria, it comes out to 272, which is the word ra'av, the word hunger. And it explains, Shem Havaya b'achoraim, when you express Shem Havaya, b'vchinas achoraim, in its dimmed state, when the face is hidden. So how do you go? You go Yud, then you go Yud K, then you go back to Yud K Vav, then you go Yud K Vav K. That is Shem Havaya b'achoraim. Shem Elokim, you start with Aleph, then you go Aleph Lamed, then Aleph Lamed K, Aleph Lamed K Yud, Aleph Lamed K Yud Mem. This is how you express, you write Shem Elokim, not when it is fully blown, fully exposed, fully clear, but as B'chinas Achoraim, when it's hidden. The ponim is hidden. So he said, Shem Havaya and Shem Elokim, when they're expressed in the hind state, in other words, it's not just Yud Kei Vav Kei and Aleph Lamed Kei Yud Mem, but it's B'chinas Achoraim. It's Yud Kei Vav Kei, then Aleph Lamed Kei, Aleph Lamed Kei Yud, Aleph Lamed Kei Yud Mem. When you calculate the gematria, the numerical value of all the letters together, it comes out exactly 272, which is the gematria, the numerical value of the word ra'av, which is hunger. So when you are hungering yourself, when you're fasting, you are creating a state of Shem Havaya and Shem Elokim b'vchinas achoraim. And when you do this, and since the nika of the klipos is from the dibur, and the dibur is the malchus, this is the shechina, and Shem Havaya is the Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? Shem Elokim is the shechina. When you are fasting, you're connecting them both, Havaya and Elokim. So you have Havaya Elokim. B'vchinas achoraim. You're connecting them b'vchinas achoraim. In other words, you're making the yichud of Kodesh B'richu and Shechintei, ochar be'ochar, back to back. Because you made Shem Havaya b'achoraim, Yud Kei Vav, Yud Kei Vav Kei, and you made Shem Elokim, Aleph Lamed Kei, Aleph Lamed Kei Yud, Aleph Lamed Kei Yud Mem. You have created an expression of both of them, and both of them b'vchinas achoraim. So what happens is you are creating a connection, a yichud of Havaya and achoraim, but from the achoraim. What happens is when they're connected b'chinas achoraim, it seals off the achoraim of both names, which means the klipot have nowhere to come in and suck. So they have no other option except to try the front, the panim. Well, good luck. They try the panim. This is like a moth to a flame. They burn and they're finished off. Because the Havaya and the Elokim are connected b'vchinas achoraim, there's no connectivity, there's no interface for the klipot. So that's why they get starved out. You just covered it up, the food source. And later on, the Torah says Vayirav ba'aretz. There was a state of Rav, of hunger. In other words, the klipot were sucking from. There was a B'chinas achoraim. They were sucking from the hind side of the kedusha, Avram went to Egypt. In other words, Avram is Chesed. He went to bring down the waters of the Chasodim to moisten the straits of the Gorim, and to get to rescue the throat from a state of Nichar Groini. That's what it says. Avram traveled. He went and traveled Hanegba. The Negba, it means that he went, the Avram, who represents the Chasadim, went to moisten the Negiva, the Negva, the dryness of the throat, to bring about a matzov of Krava Gorod, Al Tachsan. Call out with your throat and don't hold back. You'll be able to speak to Kodesh Baruch Hu. And then when you stick together, the Achariak Dusho, the Shem Havaya and Shem Elokim, you psalm to one another. The Klipos cannot get, they don't have access, they cannot suck from the Kedusha. Then what happens is that the face of the Kedusha is being exposed. That's what the Torah says. When Avram came to Mitzrayim, it's a place of Klipos, he already brought down the waters of the Chasodim to get the throat from the state of dryness. And now the Chorei Klipa are sealed. The Klipot can no longer suck from the Kedusha, from the Chorei Kedusha, which is the natural state. What happens is now they're trying to, the Sarepara, the Taivas are trying to suck from the Pnei Kedusha. The princes of Para and Para, they're trying to suck from the Pnei Kedusha now. They have no choice. They don't have any access to the Kedusha. They're starving. This whole thing is described in the Torah, in that the journey of Avram to Mitzrayim. And it says, and then Vayirod, it says, Avram Mitzrayim, when Avram came to Egypt. Then the Mitzrayim saw the woman, which is Saremenu, which is the Shechina, which is the Dibur. She was unbelievably beautiful. That's the Dibur Kedusha, that's Pnei Kedusha. The ministers of Paroi, these are the heads of the Taivas. Sarah is the Shechina, which is the Dibur. These princes of Taivas, of Paroi, when they see the splendor and the beauty of the Dibur Kedusha, and they praise her to Paroi. In other words, now they want to suck from the very front, from the panim of the Kedusha. All this is done advertently by Kodesh Baruch Hu, in order to retrieve what they've already sucked from the Kedusha. There is a time when a person controls, has dominion over another person, but this is downfall. So the Mitzvah, okay, they went, they took, so Parah takes Sarah. In other words, the Klipos, they take the Dibur to base Parah, the house of Parah. Now they're taking from the Kedusha itself. This is not sustainable. And Hashem has smitten Parah, which means he sucked out the sparks of Kedusha from the Tumas. We said that's the whole kavanah of what we're doing here. And what is it for? The face of the Kedusha is exposed. The Klipos want to suck directly from it, but they cannot do it. This is give her the Shechina from the fruit of her handiwork. In other words, to take the sparks of Kedusha from between them. And when the Shechina has retrieved all its life force from the Klipos, All the goyim are throwing away the idols. They all turn to Emunah Yisrael. Likra kulam b'shem Hashem. As we said before, it's Ozdalad. The goyim, that their yanika, their feeding, is from the klipos. The main chayes, the main life force, the main enjoyment they have from life, the taste of people cannot live without meaning. They receive, a fake meaning, from the idols that they worship. They receive from the kedusha through paroi. The reason, the way that they feed themselves is from the leftover of kedusha that there is nitzos kedusha in the ben klipos. Once you magnetize, you elevate the nitzos kedusha from the klipos, they see that they can live. They have nothing to make them go on living. So they throw away their false emunah, and they cling themselves emunah, and they cling themselves to emunah Yisrael, and this is the main emunah. That the emunah, we said the emunah needs to be adorned, has to be beautiful. It's not enough just that you have emunah. You have to bring those who are far from emunah. You have to bring them closer to the emunah. And all this, the Zohar says, "Ulemta shapirta deras na'inin," a beautiful maiden that has no eyes. Her body is hidden and it's exposed. It comes out in the morning and it is covered up by day, and it gets adorned in adornment that did not exist. All this is the description of what happens to who is this beautiful maiden that has no eyes. That's the emunah. Emunah is a female, and emunah is typified that you believe in something that you cannot see. That's why it's called a beautiful maiden that has no eyes. Ulemta shapirta, a beautiful maiden, zebchinas emunah, as we said, chinas yafa atrayasi. My beloved, you're beautiful. Chinas oreh emunah, shepherd emunah. And that which is said, the les la'einin, that has no eyes. This einin means the in of iyun, means that also the einin is also the inyan of chokhmah. It says the Adam and Chava, he says, and the eyes opened. Rashi says, al shema chokhmah never, say about chokhmah. When a person's eyes opening, in other words, now this, people say now the scales were removed from my eyes. Now I really see what's happening. The opening of the eyes is a euphemism to gaining chokhmah. Finally, I understand that. So inside of the emunah doesn't have eyes. You don't understand. You don't see that which you believe in. You believe in it, but you can't see it. It doesn't have the chokhmah. Zat Hashem, we'll repeat this tomorrow and go a little bit weiter and understand that these are very difficult concepts. And so they need to be repeated and to re-explained. And this, what Hashem will do in rest of the Medrash tomorrow. So, Bezat Hashem, I want to wish you good Chodesh, Elul, Bezat Hashem. I heard Bezat Hashem, Lina, you're trying to get to Uman. Bezat Hashem, we'll be together in Uman, Rosh Hashanah. You should help us, Bezat Hashem. Be Bezat Hashem, Chodesh Tov, and Ksiv V'Chsim Toivo, Nagid Ki Ben Shtio, Bezat Hashem.